Hello and welcome back. This is a part 3 of a real-time little series of me painting in my sketchbook of Glacier National Park. So if you haven't seen the other 2 parts, make sure to check out the description of this video for links to those. Right now you'll see I am cleaning out an area in my palette, and this is so that I can add some white gouache. So you might be wondering, what is gouache? Gouache is an opaque water-based medium. Watercolor is transparent, and so you can do multiple layers of watercolors and see through the layers slightly depending on how much water there is. And gouache is opaque, meaning you can't see through it. You can combine watercolors and gouache. You can paint with just gouache. I like to add some white gouache for some white areas and watercolors. So in a previous video, I asked you what I was going to do to add white to the painting, and if you guessed adding white gouache, you were right. So I'm just taking one of my paintbrushes. This is just an angle paintbrush. The hairs of the paintbrush are pretty stiff, and so it helps me apply the gouache. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit of water to my gouache so it's not like really thick paint. So I'm just going to add some white with my gouache back into this painting. So you probably noticed, but I am really utilizing the shape of this paintbrush to add the white gouache. So this is an angle paintbrush, so it is long and flat along the edge of the hairs, and then I can use the little one little side of it, like the point, to do some details, and then using the flat alongside to make long, narrow lines, or just really block in some chunky areas of white to represent the snowpack of this area in Glacier National Park. Sometimes using the white of the paper to create a painting isn't very conducive. I used to really focus on saving the white of the paper to make the whites in my paintings. And lately, I've been thinking, you know what? Let's stress less about saving the whites and just have some fun painting and just use some white gouache to add the whites. And so this painting is one of the first that I have painted since I changed my mentality about watercolors and using the white of the paper. Now, there are some watercolors where I will continue to use the white of the paper, and that's because I entered those in specific competitions where it is purely watercolor and any opaque paint is not allowed. But for things in my sketchbook or things just for me that I'm not planning on entering any shows, I'm just like, let's have fun. We'll use some gouache, play around, experiment, just really focus on doing the painting versus being super technical about the watercolors. So you'll just see that I dipped my brush into the cup on the right, wiped it, and then the cup on the left. It's because I have 2 cups of water. 1 cup is for rinsing dirty brushes, which is the cup on the right, and then the other cup is for getting clean water, the cup on the left. So that's what I was doing right there. So I took a little break from painting, and you can see I came back and I added some more fresh white gouache to my palette. And it's because gouache, sometimes especially white, it really works best to be used straight out of the tube. You can kind of think about it as like acrylic paint because it's opaque like acrylics. Watercolor is a water-based medium versus acrylic. It's still water-based medium, but there's like plastic in acrylic, so when the paint dries, you can't reactivate it with water. But gouache, you can reactivate it with water if you use a high quality gouache, because the fillers and such that they use, it helps it be reconstituted with water. And like the more affordable student grade gouache, it can kind of turn into like a hard plaster, and you can't rehydrate it with water and use it again. So I switched to my little detail round brush and just doing the little details that the angle flat brush I was using earlier in this video. So just getting those little tiny patches of snow and really working on that little waterfall coming down from the glacier. So here I am really layering on the gouache on top of gouache that's really dried to kind of give it a little bit of a three-dimensional look. So it's kind of layered, and you can see the brush strokes and where I am applying this white opaque gouache paint. And if you have ever used or even not used gouache, I would love for you to leave a comment. If you've used gouache, let me know what you have painted with it. And if you haven't used gouache, I would love to know what you think about this application of the white gouache paint in combination with the watercolors. And if you've liked watching this video and the other two videos, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I'd love for you to do that. And if you enjoy watching my content, I would love for you to subscribe. That really helps me with my YouTube channel and helping it grow. Now it's everyone's favorite time of the painting. The painting is dry. It is time to peel off this tape. The tape I used is a washi tape. It is strong enough to hold on to the paper, but usually not so strong that it rips the paper when you peel it off. So when I peel off the tape, I peel it so that the tape comes off at a right angle. That way, ripping the paper is minimized. And I do it nice and slow to make sure to not, rip the paper. And always make sure that your painting is completely dry, because you don't want to smudge it in the process of peeling off the tape. And in my sketchbook, it's kind of really nice sometimes to have that beautiful, crisp, white border. It just really elevates the painting within, like a little sketchbook. You can really make it nice. Thanks so much for watching, friend. I really hope this has inspired you in your watercolor painting journey. Sometimes using the white of the paper can be really nice, but other times going a little bit on the easy route of just adding some white gouache can really make your painting experience more enjoyable. Thanks for watching, and happy painting, friend.